Hi, welcome to another episode of My Healthy Story, an interview series to inspire health and hope. And I'm Mandi Palmer. I'm a holistic health and wellness coach. And today I am here with Benita Silver, who is a psychotherapist, art therapist, and intuitive counselor. Benita, thank you so much for being here today.
And thank you, Mandi. I really appreciate this opportunity.
So just tell me and the audience a little bit about yourself.
Okay. Well, as you said, I'm a psychotherapist, art therapist, and intuitive counselor. My work really is to help alleviate human suffering. And it's also about really helping people remember and reclaim their true essence, their soul self, because the human personality frequently clogs up our work, as it did with me throughout a lot of my life. And so, yeah, we'll be talking about that, I know.
Okay, well, share what have been these life challenges?
Okay, well, I chose my parents for good reason. And so I was born into a family where my parents were very overly protective. And it totally makes sense. It made sense to me that they were, but it was this comfortable confines of home and family. And as a result, that also my mother would be very cozy, comfy, and then she'd get mad at us kids and then go on strike for a few days. And so there was like very cozy confines, and then it was like, okay, I'm totally out on my own with no handhold in how to navigate this. And so I developed a sense of being a good girl and trying to protect my mom, and developed asthma at 13, which is, totally makes sense that I would do that, because that's the age when kids are identifying themselves as their own person. But so I recognized that I really didn't have a sense of self when I was married. And I was having difficulty in my marriage, and my at the time husband asked me, "What do you want to do?" And I was like, "Me?" And it was the first time in my life that I recognized I had a self. And so that really propelled me. And I was a very neophyte therapist at that time. And that propelled me to really look at myself and try to help myself through my life and develop a sense of self. So, and I continued to have asthma because I was really in the business of taking care of other people and helping others, and with no regard of myself. And it wasn't until I finally got divorced that, and I'm very thankful for the whole marriage and the opportunity. My ex-husband was a beautiful teacher for me in helping me recognize that, oh yeah, that here I am. I'm the source of the direction in my life and the source of the power in my life. So, yeah, so doing art therapy for myself, engaging in therapy, journaling, meditation, things that really help me along. And yeah, and now I find that I've really embodied a sense of self. And I'm thankful to my mom for all the stuff, all the challenges, because if I hadn't been challenged by her, I don't know where I'd be, really, because it really promoted within me a sense of, okay, I've got to work on myself. And then, as a therapist, I thought, okay, it was my work to help other people. But I recognized that in order to really help other people, it's about us clearing our clutter and working on our stuff so that we can be a good conduit and a good support for other people in their own process.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that. That is important, and I find that too. If I'm not centered, or I have a lot more trouble being present for a session myself. Yeah,
Right.
when I'm working with others. So how else was your life impacted? So you had this realization when you were an adult that you lacked a sense of self, and your asthma continued. How else was your life impacted by this, do you think?
Well, I've always recognized that fear, was a really powerful force because I was never really challenged as a child to um, experience and try new experiences. It was my parents never really challenged me to excel in school. It was like, oh yeah, the B's I was getting were just good enough, and it was kind of like I was skating through my life. And so I recognized that there was really a need to challenge myself and push my boundaries and kind of lean into the fear. And as a result, I've become kind of what I consider a renegade therapist, because I don't really subscribe to the norms in terms of, the clinical practice is important, and I see diagnoses as like that's a mechanism for the insurance industries. And instead, what I found to be most helpful was being present with myself and present with whatever was presenting itself to me. And then I would realize that I'd get into a dualistic way of thinking in terms of this is good or that's bad. And of course, then as soon as I would identify something as bad, I would create my own suffering. So that it was like, okay, can I regard what my personality thinks of as bad? Can I regard that instead neutrally as an opportunity for guidance, an opportunity for learning? And so I was able to approach challenges and difficulties in a more neutral way. And also, as an intuitive, it's kind of like I saw how I would get caught up in my personality and the mind and the ego. And then I try to take a look at it from the spiritual perspective, which is neutral. And it's like, oh, there it is.
Mm-hmm.
And I can just work with it instead of saying, no, I don't like it, go away, that kind of thing. And then there's the resistance, and then there's the suffering. So.
Mm-hmm. Wow, I love how you put all of that. As you're talking, I'm thinking that this is something I want to watch over again to make sure I get all of it. So was there a moment in your life when you knew that you had to try, or wait, no, I didn't ask you if there's anything that you tried that didn't work?
That didn't work.
That
Yeah.
just didn't work for you.
What didn't work was really focusing on everybody else and trying to take care of them, because I believed, as a child and a young adult, oh, the key to life is you just make other people happy, and then they're going to give to me, they're going to love me. But what I recognized is that really I kind of set the dynamic within my marriage, that I was the giver and the doer, and I was taken care of, and then I wasn't receiving. And, it's just kind of the nature of the human condition is that, excuse me, there's a giver, and of course, the person's going to take. And there's of course, I knew this was going to happen, the lawnmower in the back.
It's in the background. It's not bad.
Okay. And so, it makes sense that the taker is going to take, because they see that the giver is giving selflessly. And that's what I was doing until I hit the wall. And then it was like, well, what the heck about me? and I'd be angry at my partner because he wasn't giving to me, but I was the one who set the precedent. I was, part of that dynamic. I had kind of agreed to that. So it really helped me to say, oh, guess what? I have needs. I have feelings. I have boundaries. There is somebody inside here that it's like, oh yeah, I got to take care of me. And so then I was able to embrace a dialectic. And this is in my early career, or not so early, it was kind of later on, a little, when I was working as a therapist, I was a dialectical and behavioral therapy chairperson for the program that we had in the community mental health. And a lot of it was based in mindfulness, as well as embracing the dialectic, that what appears to be two opposing opposites, really, that it's like both are the reality, and you can hold both realities at the same time. And so it was about embracing other, and their feelings, and not taking care of them because that's their job, and recognizing my needs, my feelings, my boundaries, my limits, my goals, and honoring myself. So I would take care of myself, and I would be connected and compassionate with other people in relationship and not disregard their reality. So yeah, being a therapist, I mean, it's amazing because the people who sit in front of me are my teachers. And I'm not an altruist. It's not all about, I'm going to take care of you. It's like, oh, guess what? I'm going to help you, and you are going to teach me. There's going to be like an ongoing conduit where I'm helping and guiding and supporting. And guess what? They're providing me. My clients are providing me with learning and guidance, and which propels me in my process. So it's pretty beautiful. I love it.
That is awesome. I love how you described that. And I love how you talked about recognizing the two differences. And it's not about taking care of the other person or helping or finding solutions for them. And this is true, I'm sure, for your clients and your personal relationships as well. So acknowledging and just being compassionate and acknowledging your own feelings, your goals, like you said, and then just there's a separation there, but there can be a beautiful kind of integration that can happen.
Exactly.
I love that. So was there a moment that you knew, did you already answer this? A moment that you knew?
No. I'm talking, go ahead and ask it again.
A moment that you knew, almost a turning point, where you knew something had to change?
It was when my husband at the time asked me, what do you want to do?
That was it.
And actually, then I learned it was kind of like, and then periodically he would ask me, do you want a divorce? And I would say, I can't say that I do, because I literally could not state the words. And I knew that I was working toward it, but I wasn't ready. And so at that moment that I was ready, and he asked me, do you want a divorce? Down the road, it was a year and a half that we were separated. I said yes. And I felt the clarity and the congruence within me, that was the right choice. And I also saw just the karmic relationship with him, and the bigger picture. I saw that this was bigger than him and me also, which I felt a real appreciation of. So.
That's awesome. So there was a lot of good that came out of your marriage ending at that time.
Certainly, and our son, for sure.
Oh, there you go. That's one. So you've given us a lot already on how you dealt with these feelings and challenges throughout your life. So how did you finally? Wait, no, I already asked you that. I'm not crossing off the right questions. Um, so what other types of things did you try and once you realized this? Um,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, what else?
Right. So I've been practicing TM, Transcendental Meditation for over 40 years. And, again, it's like not a coincidence that a big part of my treatment for my clients was mindfulness meditation. And again, it just kind of furthered and deepened my practice in recognizing that being present in the moment, we step over the threshold into spirit, into the infinite and the eternal, where there's no garbage. And it's kind of like what I recognize as the human condition is that it's kind of like a sandwich play between remorse, regret, guilt about past actions, or anxiety, the gotta do, the what if about the future. And so, but those feelings come up in the present. And again, they provide guidance for us. And it's like, so if there's regret about the way I treated somebody that I'm feeling now, that's an indicator that I can do something about it now. I can't change the past, but I can change it now. I can like apologize and say, hey, I was out of line and I'm really sorry. And if there's the what if or the I gotta about the future, and that's a big part of me, my I gotta, and I'm constantly aware of it, and it often drives me, then I can say, okay, what can I do right now about that? That's trying to inform me, it's trying to propel me into action. So what can I do? What's manageable in this one moment? And then the next moment, and then the next moment. And that's what is so beautiful. It's like, okay, just kind of working with those internal parts of us. And yeah, and the internal family systems is huge. I work with my internal parts continually and befriend them and try not to. I mean, it's kind of like when I'm up against a wall, then I'll call my therapist and say, hey, can we work on this? And so a little tune-up kind of thing.
I love that. So you found some new ways to navigate through that
Yeah.
challenge in your life.
Yes.
Um, so how are you today?
I
How
am
is everything today?
I am delighted. I love my life. It's been almost a year that I've been in Asheville, and what it is I really developed a lot of trust in myself through this process. Um, and um, And so I sold my house in New Hampshire. I put my belongings in storage. I sold a lot of them. And I just came down here on the hunch that Asheville just kind of was calling me. And I recognized, oh, yeah. I realized that so much of it is that New Hampshire is a very masculine essence, energy, live free or die, Yankee mentality, granite state. And that for here, I felt so embraced by the mountains and the people. It's a very feminine energy.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I'm working on now is like, because instead of the go, 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 do, make it happen, which is a masculine energy, it's about, just kind of resting in being. And it's a big challenge for me.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Embracing the softness of the feminine energy and what it can do for you. And so you've been here a year. We moved here just 2 years ago, also my husband and I, and we had no reason to move here. It was calling us.
Uh-huh.
Same reason. It's so funny how it does that. So this new energy that you're surrounding, you said it's a bit of a challenge for you because it's different from what you've been in before. How has what has this done for you the past year? What have you noticed about yourself?
It's been just amazing because I've just connected with so many people, professional and personally, and it just feels like I'm home. I just feel the, I guess I just feel the resonance in just being myself. And that is, it's a beautiful thing. And just to be able, it's kind of like, I don't regard myself as a political activist, and it's like, I don't have to necessarily do anything. If I can be and just love and accept myself, then people, it kind of radiates outwardly, and it can touch other people and help them in their healing. And so, and that we have this internal guidance system. And so that's been my practice, is to check in with myself and help others check in with themselves and listen to those internal voices and guidance.
Mm-hmm. That's awesome. So what would you want to say to other people experiencing the challenges now that you've faced?
I think the biggest thing is, it's like, how do we trust ourselves? Because we have internal conflict, and typically the conflict arises from our minds. Our minds are trying to help us. They're trying to provide us with clarity and understanding. They want us to plan. They want to kind of label and define, compartmentalize, because the mind wants to provide us with these manageable pieces to work on. And so the mind will say, this is good, that's bad. Don't deal with the bad, get rid of it. But the thing is, the mind is a better servant than master. So it's like, okay, so can we ask our mind to observe? And then can we check into the deeper truth, which resides in our bodies? And when we feel a feeling of resonance, which for me is a feeling of relaxation, expansion, exhilaration, it's like, oh, check it out, Benita, green light, go. And instead is like to trust that. And if we're feeling what I call clangs, like restriction, constriction, congestion, pain, that those are indicators too from our internal parts that are wanting our attention. It's like, okay, can we approach those? And can we approach them with neutrality rather than trying to get rid of them, deny them, destroy them, ignore them? Energy we can't get rid of energy. And so the energy of our parts are that energy is saying, hey, I'm here. Are you paying attention to me? And so if we can approach them with curiosity, then they can provide us with the guidance that they want.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the way...
And then transmute, actually, and work effectively within us.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the way through that, the way past that is really right down the middle of it, really addressing it and facing it and understanding it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I tell my clients, like, our parts are kind of like children. And if, let's say, if we're busy in the kitchen making dinner and our child's like, mommy, 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 I want your attention. And if we, just brush the kid away, the kid is going to react, or the child will react. And ultimately, if we keep brushing the child away, the child is going to tantrum. And our parts are exactly the same. That if we disregard them, they're gonna take us over. They're gonna grab us by the throat,
Yeah.
and say, what do I have to do to get your attention? And so instead, maybe it's not a good time while you're making dinner. And maybe instead you can let your partner know, okay, I'm aware of you, I'll come back to you.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll spend some time with you.
Mm-hmm. I love I've never heard of that concept before, of the internal family systems and the different parts of yourself. So I loved how you brought that in and explained it a little bit more.
Yeah.
I like that. I'm going to start kind of pondering that with what comes up for me. Well, Benita, thank you so much for being here today and sharing your story and all your wisdom. It's been truly inspiring.
Thank you so much, Mandi. It's been a delight.
Thank you. So Thank you everyone for joining me for another episode of My Healthy Story. You can find Benita at her website, woman with an A-N, heal.net. And you can learn more about me and see more healing stories at Mandi with an I, Palmer.com.